Hello, you guys. I hope you are having a super awesome morning. I believe today is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers that are out there, whether they are your biological children, adopted children, or just those that you have grandfathered into your family as a whole. We truly do thank you for being such a great role model and standing there in the gap for so many and giving us the opportunity to have someone that we could relate to and connect with and just so many other wonderful things. Today, I wanted to reach out to you guys because I know I have been rolling. So I have not had an opportunity to really to touch base with you. And just to see how everything has been going. I hope that you guys are like having the time of your lives and enjoying the weather that we have because we are now officially, I think today is like the first day of summer, if I'm not mistaken. So we have begun to get a lot of interesting weather. And it's so funny because I've been having so many people like, oh my God, it's so hot. And I know because this morning, I think it was like five something, and I was on my way to come over here and it was already like 73 degrees. And I'm like, where in the God name are you that it is 73 degrees already at 5 in the morning? So I know it's going to be a super hot day. But just to hear people talk about it or saying, like, oh my God, it's so hot, I'm staying inside. I'm like, dude, just like a couple of weeks ago, you couldn't go outside, right? And you were dying to get out. Everyone was like so like what is it, stir crazy in the house, and they were like, I gotta get outside, I gotta get out. And now you have an opportunity, and you're just like, oh Lord, it's too hot. So go on out there, get you some sun. Help your body to rejuvenate from the time that we actually stayed in for almost a good part of a year. So go ahead and get out there and enjoy yourselves. So today I'm going to talk really quickly about the concept of questions and being able to ask them. You guys know that I used to work for a childcare center, so I simply love children. And all my life, they seem to have gravitated towards me. I could be in a grocery store or wherever, and a child will just find me and their eyes get big, so mine get big, and then they're coming over to hug or to talk with me and just all different things. And so on the plane the other day, there was a set of cute little kids, and they were first time flyers. And so I always love to try to calm anyone's nerves that may be a first time flyer, of course. But of course, our little ones, so that they won't create a fear within them at such a young age. And so we talk and engage in things like that. And of course, they are so full of questions. And that is one thing that I simply love about children, because they have like no filter sometimes as it relates to their questions. And I thought about that a little bit, about their questions that they were asking, and I was like, Lord, this is sort of like us as adults, that we need to go back to that, right? Like we need to go back to the time where we felt comfortable in asking questions. And I know some of you are like, oh, I don't have a problem asking questions, but it just depends on what area that you're in. Sometimes we are more prone to ask questions in areas that we are a little bit more confident in others, and when we're learning something new or something like that, we're somewhat are afraid to some degree to ask certain questions of fear of being embarrassed, or someone responding to you in an undesirable manner. And so sometimes we refrain from asking questions. And so I thought about that, and I was like, yeah, a lot of us need to get back to that, because some of us wouldn't be in the things that we're in if we had asked some questions. But when I was thinking further about that concept, it made me think about when I first became a Christian, when I first got saved, right? Now, I grew up old school. My mom, when she got saved, she was like 18 years old. And so she was very green, very young, and things like that. And she was under the late elect Lady Davis. Now, she was like real straight old school, like skirts, got the little dolly thing on your head. I mean, like real super old school, right? And so that's what my mom came up under. And so that's how she raised up. We were like super old school, like certain things you just did, you didn't ask no questions. That sometimes is how it is in the black community, if we can be honest. It's like our parenting style can be like, you do it because I told you to. You don't get to ask any questions. And so, but anyway, back to the scenario here. And so, a lot of things my mom was taught, it was just like, you don't ask God questions. You just sort of function and flow in the way that things are going, and you don't question Him. You just continue to go on. And so, as you know, as we're growing and maturing, I started asking, I was like, well, Mom, why can't we ask God questions? Like, I don't quite understand it. Like, if he knows everything, why would we try to figure it out? Why don't we just ask him, you know? And she was like, you don't do it. You don't do it. And as I became older, I realized why they were saying what they did. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so we just did that. So I reflected back on a time when I had started getting older in myself. And for those of you who don't know, of course, you know, when you're younger, your parents make you go out there and get saved. So like every other Sunday, we up there like, yes, I believe in God. But as I got older, I realized that I wanted my own relationship, and not because somebody was asking me to or forcing me to go up there. So when I was 15 years old, I rededicated myself to God and became saved for the first time for me, because that was something I wanted to do, and not because somebody was saying like that's what you should do. And so as I began to grow and get older and things like that in Christ, it was like something happened in my life. And so I was like, hi, how are you doing? I was like, you know what? I got some questions. You know, I don't quite understand why this is happening and why it functions the way that it is. I need somebody to give me some answers. And so, but even though I wanted to ask him some questions so badly, I kept hearing in the back of my mind, like, you don't question God now. You can do a lot of things, but you won't do that. And, you know, and so I remember praying, trying to formulate my words in a way that I could communicate my concerns without them being questions. And so when I think about it now, it's comical, because if I thought that the way that my phrasing of my words were going to end in a question, I was like turning them around so badly to try to, you know, make it almost like like, I don't know, like making an exclamation mark as opposed to a question or something. God help me, Jesus. Stop, God, I ain't gonna be able to stop. But I was trying to do it in a way because I didn't want to be disrespectful. I was like, I'm not gonna question God. I'm not gonna make him feel like I don't trust him and believe him. I'm just da da da. But as I continue to grow and get more sound understanding and teaching, and God began to, of course, reveal certain things to me, after reading his word and being under the tutelage of great leaders and teachers and things like that, I understood what they were saying. What they were telling us about not questioning God was that you don't try to put yourself in a position that you are a superior being and that you somehow know more than what he does, because of course he knows it all. But it wasn't telling us not to ask him questions, because if you go back in the Bible is full of questions. Oh my God, from Abraham, when he was asking him like, God, what if you find one person, if there's only one righteous person there, would you destroy the area, you know? When Sarah asked questions, when oh my God, Joe, it was so many people. I could go down like a list of different people who asked questions. When David even asked him, like, how long are you going to turn your face from me? Like, how long is this going to happen? Like, what is going on? There were so many of them that knew that they had that type of relationship with God, that they could ask questions and say, I don't quite understand why this is happening. Well, can you explain it to me? Can you give me a better understanding? Or can you give me a piece about the situation until it unfolds so that I can have a better connection, you know? And so that's what God really wants from us. He wants us to have the type of relationship with him that we can freely ask him any question that there is in our mind, and he will help guide us in how to get the right answer, whether that is through his word, whether it's through an individual, whether it's through a situation or a commercial. Oh my God, some of these commercials are like so prophetic in their own being that it speaks exactly at the right time what you need to hear, that gives you guidance and what your next steps and things like that should be. So it's just very interesting to see that sort of unfold for us, you know? And so when I thought about that, my mind went back again to a situation with my older sister. Now, you guys know that my youngest nephew, because I have two wonderful nephews and one great niece, and right now I might get some more in the future, things like that. But my youngest nephew was a preemie. He was so small you can hold him like in your hand, like so super amazing to see where he started and where he is now, where God is still yet carrying him, and my other nephew and niece and things like that. But when my sister went through that process, that indeed was a test of her faith, my brother-in-law faith, and all of our faith as a family. But it put her in a position of trusting God in a way that she may have never experienced before, if not for that situation. It also connected her to people that she had never had an interaction with, but now she was a part of that community because of what happened. And so there was a situation where there were other people who connected to her and was asking questions about, like, how do you deal with the fact that this happened to your child? Because other people were experiencing the same. And so, of course, you go through all the different emotions and things like that. And she was explaining to the person about, well, sometimes you get to a position where you're even asking, you're questioning God, like, God, why did this happen? And the person was like, oh no, you don't question God. And so it when she talked about it, and we went in discussion and things like that, and I'm gonna leave it at that because it's a person's personal situation things. But in referencing her, and we started talking about how, oh my God, we remember when we were kids, and they were telling us, like, you don't question God and things like that, because a lot of people still hold that mentality. But I want to be a beacon of light for you today to say that God does not shy away from our questions. He's big enough to take all of our questions, whether they are erroneous in their nature or ill-gotten overall. He is willing and big enough to accept those and give us the guidance that's needed. Because sometimes when we don't ask questions, we find ourselves backpedaling it into our own understanding or in what we deem to be correct. I've done it myself and gotten into predicaments that really set me back in my faith, in my understanding of God, in my understanding the connection with other people. It really places you in a downward spiral in many areas if you are not careful when you choose not to get the right information. So I just want to encourage you today, be like a child. Be open to the point, where is that? Be open to the point of asking questions so that you can regain the proper perspective that's needed of who God is in your life and who He wants to be, and to give you better understanding so that you can be the next open door for somebody else who may be going through a similar situation. So that's all I have for now. I think we have gone beyond the time period that, of course, that I want to do for today. But I miss y'all. I haven't had a chance to really talk to you, so I was a little bit long-winded today. But I hope you have grasped what it was that I was laying down for you. That it is okay to ask God's questions. He does not shy away from you because you choose to ask Him as to why something happened, as to what it is you need to do next, and so many other point of views. Let your prayers be a question if you need it to be, until you gain the understanding that's needed to bring you to the next level of direction or peace or whatever it may be for you, so that you can connect continually to God. All right, you guys, that's all I have for now. I may do another video very soon because I know I haven't spoken to you guys in a bit, and so I have so much more I need to talk about and to share. But until such time, I hope you have a super awesome day. I hope you are enjoying your fathers and reaching out to them and sharing with them how much you love and care for them. And I hope that you are experiencing this wonderful weather so that you can get some of those vitamins back in your body that's needed, that we miss while we're in the house. All right, y'all. Talk to you soon. Hope you have a great one. Oh, also, like, subscribe, and share. And of course, I always say, whether you want to do anything, I would say at least like, at least share, because if you do share, it could be something that can guide somebody else in another direction. All right, talk to you soon. Hope you have a great one.